Now, one of the missing is 68-year-old retired General William Neil McCasslin with ties to the UFO community. This one's raising a lot of eyebrows. It happened very recently. He used to work on a classified space program at a research lab at an Air Force base in Ohio. He disappeared not too long ago, in February of this year. In a 911 call, his wife said that she had some indication that perhaps he did not want to be found. So that has set off a lot of speculation across the UFO community. What happened to him? A lot of interesting details about him. He left his phone behind. He went for a hike and then just disappeared.
On February 27th, a retired U.S. Air Force general walked out of his Albuquerque home and disappeared. No phone, no watch, no trace. But here's what the mainstream media is glossing over. This man commanded classified programs involving space weapons, advanced technologies, and UFO research. And investigators just confirmed his gun is missing too. This is not a simple missing persons case. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why. Stay with me, because this case goes deeper than the headlines are letting on. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications. We cover cases like this every single week, and you do not want to miss what's coming. And drop a comment below. Do you think General McCasslin left on his own, or was something else going on? I read every single comment. Okay, let's get into it. Most people had never heard the name William Neil McCasslin before February 27th. But inside military and intelligence circles, this man was not ordinary. He previously commanded Wright Patterson Air Force Base, one of the most secretive installations in the United States, and directly oversaw classified programs involving space weapons, advanced technologies, and what the government now officially calls unidentified aerial phenomena. In plain English, UFO research. This was not a man who pushed papers. This was a man who knew things, which makes what happened on that Tuesday morning almost impossible to explain.
Newly released 911 audio from the wife of a retired missing Air Force general reveals she believed he may have gone missing intentionally.
This is April. How may I help you?
Hi, April. My name is Susan Wilkerson. My husband is missing.
Okay.
And it's been about 3 hours, and I have some indication that he must have planned not to be found. He's left his phone, he changed his clothes, and I don't know what.
68-year-old William Neil McCasslin went missing on February 27th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. His phone, prescription glasses, and a wearable tracking device were all noticeably left behind at the home. Officials said a firearm, a holster, and a wallet were missing from that house.
On the morning of February 27th, McCasslin was last seen leaving his home on foot at around 11 a.m. No phone, no watch. Both things his wife confirmed were completely out of character for him. He was described as regimented, a man of routines and preferences. He had specific gear he used for hiking, specific habits outdoors. Leaving without his phone and wearable devices wasn't just unusual. According to the people closest to him, it simply wasn't something he did. Ever, and yet, that morning, he walked out the door and never came back.
Sheriff talked about a mental fog? What do we know about that?
Yeah, super interesting, right, Jesse? This is something that we've been covering now for 2 weeks. We know we're entering that third week here pretty soon, but never before had we ever used those words out loud, or at least heard them out loud. Mental fog. So essentially what the sheriff's office was saying was this is something that the general reported experiencing over the last few months, and it had an impact on him, so much so that he even had to drop out of some of the other groups and events that he would normally go to. But that being said, the mental fog clearly wasn't that bad in terms of the other ways it might debilitate someone. They said that there was no depression, no signs of suicidal ideations, no behavioral issues. In fact, the lead investigator here, the lieutenant, said he was probably still, regardless, the smartest man in the room. But regardless, we do know that this was something that he at least self-reported, these mental fog that is now overcoming of him. And it's part of the reason why they had the justification and the basis for putting out that silver alert. Number one, he was a senior citizen. And number two, he reported experiencing this recent development mentally.
When authorities began searching, here what the picture looked like. Missing from the home, his wallet, a .38 caliber revolver with a leather holster, and a red backpack. Investigators also noted hiking boots and an outdoor shirt were initially unaccounted for, but those were later located at his second home in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, roughly 3 hours away. Here, what makes the gun significant? His wife told investigators that McCasland did not typically carry a weapon on hikes. That was reserved for overnight camping trips only. So why was it missing that morning? Nobody has answered that yet.
I told you on the silver alert, let me clear up a couple of questions. Everybody's asking why a silver alert on Mr. McCasland. With New Mexico state statute, a silver alert does not require a formal diagnosis of any mental deterioration. The reason being also is because Mr. McCasland is over 50 years of age. He did state that he was experiencing a mental fog, and because of this information that we received, we decided to do a silver alert. Mr. McCasland, it was confirmed, was looking in to some of his mental fog, but out of respect for the family, I will not go into any further detail on the state of any type of mental issues. New information that came up here over the weekend. Items recently located is a light green long sleeve button-up outdoor shirt, hiking boots, but please remember, let's be practical. Mr. McCasland probably had more than one pair of hiking boots. Located at his Pagosa Springs house were these items. Items that are still unaccounted for are his wallet, a .38 caliber revolver, and a leather holster. I will have Lieutenant Kyle Woods go over some other details of belongings that Mr. McCasland possibly had and any other further details in the investigation to answer some of your questions. And also, as you see in the picture, a red backpack.
The FBI joined the investigation shortly after his disappearance. A silver alert was issued citing mental fog, a term McCasland himself had used to describe what he'd been experiencing in recent months. Authorities were quick to clarify, though, this was not a man who was confused or disoriented. Their words, he would still be the most intelligent person in any room.
Tonight here, the urgent search for a missing retired Air Force Major General in New Mexico. His family says he disappeared nearly 2 weeks ago now. Here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, the urgent search after the mysterious disappearance of a retired Major General who once commanded the Air Force Research Laboratory overseeing cutting-edge technology. Authorities say 68-year-old William McCasslin left his New Mexico home nearly 2 weeks ago and hasn't been seen since. Authorities say McCasslin likely left on foot, leaving his cell phone behind, and they're concerned for his safety because of unspecified medical issues. Late today, authorities released this photo of McCasslin, saying he may have been wearing the same green shirt when he vanished. They say his hiking boots, wallet, and a revolver with a leather holster were also missing from the home. Over the weekend, search and rescue teams along with the FBI returned to trails McCasslin hiked near his home. They say a shirt was found there, but it's not clear whether it belonged to him. Before his retirement in 2013, Major General McCasslin held some of the most sensitive positions in the military, working on space research and reconnaissance, and he later worked briefly as an unpaid consultant for a group researching UFOs.
Real quick, if you're finding this valuable, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel keep covering cases like this one. Okay, back to it, because this is where things get interesting. There are 3 directions this case could go, and I want to walk you through all of them honestly. First, he went into the Sandia Mountains voluntarily and something happened out there. He was an avid outdoorsman. The FBI confirmed he had wearable device history showing he regularly hiked the Alan Gayos area and Domingo Baca Canyon. Search teams including cadaver dogs, drones, helicopters with thermal imaging, and ground crews have covered that canyon extensively. They got one possible hit from the dogs in the upper canyon, but the wind made it impossible to pinpoint. Nothing confirmed. Second, he chose to disappear. No note, no goodbye, no farewell communication found on any of his devices. His wife has not spoken publicly. Investigators say there's nothing on his electronics suggesting pre-planning, but the missing gun, the missing wallet, and the abandoned phone create a picture that doesn't fully add up either way. Third, and this is the one that I keep coming back to, someone didn't want this man found. He oversaw classified programs. He had security clearances at levels most of us will never know exist. When a reporter asked investigators directly whether his disappearance could be connected to what he knew, they didn't rule it out. They said, and I'm paraphrasing, "We have nothing pointing to foul play, but we haven't ruled anything out either." That's a very careful answer from very careful people. Here, what law enforcement has not explained. Why is there zero video footage of him leaving the neighborhood in an area with plenty of residential cameras? Why did the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit get involved this early in what's being publicly framed as a missing persons case? And why, after nearly 4 weeks and thousands of square miles searched, is there not a single confirmed sighting, not one of this man after 11 a.m. on February 27th? Until those questions get answered, this case stays open. Here, where we stand, William Neil McCasslin has been missing for nearly 4 weeks. Law enforcement has deployed the FBI, cadaver dogs, thermal drones, helicopter night flights, and conducted over 80 confirmed tips. They searched 700 homes, they grid-searched canyons, and they have found nothing. My personal take, the missing gun troubles me most. If this was a man who didn't typically hike armed, why take it that morning? That detail points either to a man who had made a decision or a man who felt he needed protection. Neither answer is comfortable, but I think we owe it to him to keep asking the questions. If this video made you think, please like it, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Sharing matters more than you know. Someone out there might have a piece of this puzzle, and your share could put this video in front of the right eyes. Drop your theory in the comments. I want to know what you think happened to General McCasslin. I'll see you in the next one. Stay curious, stay kind, and never stop asking questions.